See?
Hey, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
We're just bickering. We're feeling the Thanksgiving joy, and we're bickering. It's good. We're working tomorrow too, folks. So if you want to be up and at 'em with us, putting the machinations of your Thanksgiving meal, your feast.
Wait.
You can have us in your AirPods and take us with you wherever you go.
Do I get overtime tomorrow? Is that like a holiday pay?
Do you want it?
Time and a half, or
do you feel like you should? I think that's probably a worthy debate as we consider your bonus.
This sounds like a setup.
I don't know. I'm interested in your perspective.
Since when?
Brock was just saying that nobody cares about his perspective. And I'm saying I most assuredly do. I care a lot. Right. All right. I need better eyes. My goodness. I love that Joe goes like this. So when I take my glasses and I'm like, here, you want to look? And he's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, what is it about you not wanting to wear readers or cheaters?
I think it's
a badge of honor. Admitting what?
Wow, Brock is really stretching out Wendy's shirt. No, we were both giving these shirts, and they wanted us to. Jason wanted us to wear one the same day,
which we thought was decidedly.
And we're like, no, I don't think so.
I don't really think we're going to be twinsies today. There's such a glare on my forehead. Do you see that? I know you're paying attention to it. You should pay attention to it. Is that the first thing you saw?
No, like mine. Greg, Brock does not need a big hug.
No, he doesn't.
No.
I've never hugged him.
Brock is not a hugger.
There we go. Let's see if I was able to dull.
No, you have once.
I've hugged you once?
Yes.
Why?
You forced me.
No. I'm sure that wasn't awkward at all.
It was when I gave you the
wreath.
The wreath.
He made me a beautiful wreath for my door.
I do things.
Okay, wait a minute. Don't try to justify you being crafty and kind. You are a crafty dude. He got all these old school Christmas lights.
C9.
You know, the colored ones.
The C9s.
Is that what they're called?
Yes.
C9s. I didn't know that. And he made a wreath for his wife, for her mother, and for me.
I did not make one for anyone else.
Oh, you just made it for me.
I made different ones.
Oh, you made that's right. You made different. You made one with candy canes.
Right, for Kate.
For Kate, right.
I made
very cute.
One in burlap with a big red thing that looked like a reindeer.
Very cute, very crafty, very cute. And he made me a wreath. And I gave him a hug. That's correct. I thought that was very sweet.
Can I explain why?
I hugged you?
No.
Or why you're awkward with hugs? It's like hugging a plank of wood.
I'm like Leonard from The Big Bang Theory.
I'm like, don't worry, I'm not gonna try to kiss you or anything. Relax. It's platonic. Go ahead, you want to explain?
Yeah, I like to do things that are mind-numbing.
Yeah.
Where it makes me think about nothing else but how am I going to make all of these lights fit around here? So it's mind-numbing. I used to paint for the same reason. I put my ear pods in.
I did not get that wreath back from the restoration people, by the way.
No? Where's it at?
I have no idea. I didn't get that. I didn't get a toolbox. I didn't get a couple other things.
You know how many hours I put
I know, because each one is glue gunned into and then it lights up at the end. It's so cute.
If I had to put a price tag in the amount of time that it took me.
Well, here's the thing about doing something for others. You don't tell them how hard you worked at it because they know how hard you worked at it.
Oh, here we go.
Or if you want to.
Here's another thing.
You want to be on the cross. What?
Here, criticize someone that took a lot of time to give you something.
Whatever. So, hey, I hope you guys are going to join us tomorrow because we are going to have a Thanksgiving show. We'll probably be the only media coast to coast that's on we take Thanksgiving seriously.
Not fill-in or best of.
Yes, it's going to be a real live, 100% fresh and fabulous show. Duh. I'll be here.
I mean, tune in to find out if I'm getting holiday pay.
Am I getting holiday pay?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't told me your decision on your pay.
All right. My. Do we have a lot to talk about today?
And find out if I'm invited to said Thanksgiving dinner at the Wendy Bell house.
Why would I invite you to my house when you're going to be having dinner with your family?
Why would you? See, I was trying to tease tomorrow to give them a reason to tune in.
See, I invited him.
Already knows.
I invited him to come to Stinky's with my family tonight. He's like, "Why would I do that? That's your family thing."
No, is that how I responded?
That's pretty much how he responded.
No, I responded with, "No, your kids are home. Do a family thing."
Okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to have an HR lady.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you about the HR lady.
She's fabulous.
She's not fabulous. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea. You're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Oh my goodness, it is Wednesday. What was that, Brock? That is absolutely correct. Good morning, America, and welcome to Wednesday, the day before Thursday of Thanksgiving. So excited to have you guys along for the ride today. Hey, by the way, we are going to be here tomorrow, and it's not going to be some canned show, some best of evergreen, whatever. There's no guest host, no fill-in people. It's Brock, it's me. And we're going to be rocking it all morning long on Thanksgiving. So make sure you join us. Hello, good morning, and let's do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. So much of what we're going to talk about today makes me feel as though we are living in an alternate reality. I literally, as crazy as that sounds, so much of what we hear today and what we're going to play for you in our dazzling array of what I believe is something like 13 or 14.
No, it's 19.
19 audio sound bites for you today. And there's an underlying theme with all of them. It literally reminds me, not like I've ever felt this way before, but it does feel like we're in some kind of a weird twilight zone because nothing is making any sense. I feel like all the people in the government are paid actors and they're really bad at their jobs. Except the problem is, they're not, allegedly, and we're just stuck in this B-rate movie of incompetence and self-enrichment and conflicts of interest out the wazoo, and they're being protected by a complicit media who's part of the production. It really is so weird. When you hear what I'm going to be playing for you today, you're going to completely understand what I'm talking about. It reminds me of something that happened a couple of years ago. Joe and I had friends in the neighborhood who had come over for dinner one night. This was before the pandemic. And we started talking, and the guy was telling us that he was quitting his job and he was going to try something different. Now, pre-pandemic, and with children, a little younger than my kids, that's a big call. That's a big decision to make, to do an about face and to say, you know what? I'm not really liking what I'm doing. I think I'm going to go try something on my own. Obviously, they made sure they had their ducks in a row. The wife worked. They had some squirreled away savings. He thought, if I'm going to try something, I'm going to try it now. I thought that was fabulous. So a couple weeks later, he comes back to Joe and me and tells us about this venture. And he sat down and he was very excited about it. He had tapped in on this idea in media ratings and advertising revenue to marry these two concepts of how many people are watching an individual program at any given time via ratings, and then an online instantaneous tracker of advertising revenues, so that the two would kind of come together and be this one-stop shop device ostensibly for people in the entertainment industry, be it television news or what have you. Super excited. And the pitch came, would we be interested in investing? Now, I will tell you that I was kind of intrigued by this story idea, by this business model. Being a member of the media at the time myself, I completely understood what it was trying to accomplish, or so I thought. So we had all these really elaborate marketing materials, right? He had the binder, like the leather binder that you open up. It wasn't some cheapy thing that your accountant gives you. You know, that's not H&R Block, here are your taxes. This was nice. All of the pages were beautifully printed. There were glossy displays and pie charts and other graphs of projected revenue and all these bells and whistles. It was really quite extensive. But when I asked him specifics about exactly what the business did, he talked in a lot of verbal spaghetti. Well, we're going to do this and projection and blah, blah, and yeah, blah, 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 blah. Huh. Well, Joe and I decided, you know what, we're going to help him out a little bit. Gave him a few bucks and said, you know what, we wish you all the best. And as the time went on, I saw him in the neighborhood driving off to some office somewhere ostensible to do his work, putting together this big grand business plan. Needless to say, it didn't work out. Okay, stuff happens like that. But he could never really drill down on any specifics of what he was really going to use as the linchpin of his business. This is what I'm going to do. This is my business plan. These are the people I'm going to be reaching out to. This is my projection, what I want to be doing in X amount of time. There was really none of that. So a couple of years go by until most recently, and Joe said, whatever happened to that money we gave that guy? Whatever happened with that? I'm like, well, he had texted me and said, yeah, sorry, it didn't really work out. Really committed. But I remember looking at the outward expression of all this stuff, the charts, the displays, all of the things that made it look so impressive. But underneath that surface, there was really no plan, because there was really no business model. There were no projections, no objectives. And in fact, he had a hell of a time even telling us really what he was doing. Okay, it's one thing if you're going to get burned on a few bucks. It's another thing when it's your government that is shafting you and selling you the theatrics of leadership, of we know what's going on, of we've got this covered, we're safe, don't worry about it. It's a whole different ballgame when it's your government. Ladies and gentlemen, every single day, I listen to every single thing these people are talking to us about, whether it's Pete Buttigieg, who has no earthly knowledge of transportation whatsoever that I can see as our transportation secretary. Or it's Jennifer Granholm, the energy secretary, listening to her talk, fundamentally not having basic information about energy needs and uses for the American people, whether it's these people or Kamala Harris, who certainly is not well versed in any kind of negotiations, let alone being tapped to be the border czar. Fundamental failures. And then you look at farce man himself, Joe Biden. It is literally as though these people are B-rate actors who were selected to play a part, who are given scripts to read, and that is what they can tell you. They can give you basic bullet points. Well, we're going to work hard for the American people. Well, I sure hope so. How about some specificity? How about some granular data? Well, we're looking at every tool in our tool belt to make sure we can do this. Oh, that makes me feel much better. Meanwhile, in 10 short months, our economy has gone to hell in a handbasket. China is testing all this weaponry and is flexing its own energy independent muscles, making deals with Russia as we're worried about making sure we protect the climate. Oh, could you be more disconnected? So I feel like we're in this really strange, unasked for twilight zone, where we, the people, voted for something very different. But central casting decided, well, that's really not the storyline we're going to go with. We're going to give you this guy instead and his merry band of misfits. And they're going to, every single day, play the part of the administration of the United States of America. And they suck at it. Does it bother anybody else that Joe Biden continually does things, quote unquote, with the media in a fake set across the street from the real White House? Is there anything that is going on that is actually real? Or is this just all some farcical nightmare? See, the ripple effect of reality is true. You're feeling it every single day. It doesn't have to be with the big expenses either. It's every single gosh darn thing you're spending money on. Every single way you look, it is failure. It is incompetence. It is verbal spaghetti. It is this guy's glossy spreadsheet and fancy pie charts of all this fabulous things on paper that, quite frankly, mean absolutely nothing. This is only not even a year in. Wait until you hear the sound we have coming up. I can't fathom having an energy secretary who is incapable of telling America what this country's daily petroleum needs are. How much oil do we use as a country? Well, I don't know. Well, that's a big problem there, Jennifer. It's a big problem. So do me a favor, buckle up and get ready, because we're going to walk you through what I believe is not just gross ineptitude, but also now more and more pieces of this corrupt puzzle coming to fruition for us as the people who have been picked to play these parts in this tragic movie. We get to see how they're getting enriched, how they're getting paid while you're paying the price. Dr. Darren Dubiak at Advanced Integrative Medical 360 invites you to do something truly remarkable. It costs $199, okay? And for $199, you get some of the most amazing blood work ever. 60 different biomarkers, more than a dozen hormones in one blood panel. So You get your blood drawn. All these results are gleaned. You get this folder from Advanced Integrated Medical 360. Has all the results in it about you and your body. And then you get a sit down with Dr. Dubiak or a member of his medical team for 30 to 45 minutes. You're going to go over every single result. He's going to highlight places where you're deficient. And the light bulb is going to go off in your mind. You're going to say, that's why I can't lose weight no matter how hard I diet or how much I exercise. That's why I have no libido. That's why I'm walking around in a fog. And then he gets you on track. It's just that simple. And it starts with a phone call. 412-227-9255. Pittsburgh's #1 hormone weight loss center. Amazing stuff. IntegrativeMedical360.com. Check them out. All right, when we come back, we're going to kind of grease the skids for you. Lay out the table, your Thanksgiving smorgasbord of what's ahead. It's soundbite after soundbite of people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, pretending to be in charge. All the while, you're suffering. Don't miss it. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program.
And I believe his name was Jason on the stream. You're right. We do have more important things to worry about than climate change. But when the climate change affects everything that we do every day, like gas and the restrictions that come with trucking to get through, then it is kind of important to talk about what they want to do
for sure
and what they're putting in the budget for this. So the regulations for the Green New Deal, we'll call it, for lack of better, they're the Build Back.
It's to grind everything to a halt.
Right. So it
grind everything to a halt. There's a reason we have pivotal supply chain issues. And a lot of that reason is because of these preposterous regulations. And the preposterous regulations also involving mandatory vaccination. You know, you got a trucking industry with 80,000 job openings, and you're going to put people's back against the wall and force them to do something? Really? Truckers who are inherently solitary individuals? Like, what are you doing? Jennifer Granholm is a real piece of work.
Well, what's it tell you? Not failed governor turned CNN crackpot.
Yes.
I mean, I remember her in the election. She was unhinged.
I don't recall her.
This isn't supposed to happen. You know, I'm sure her appointment was guaranteed, so she lost out on something. So she had to wait 4 years for them to steal the election so she could get in there.
No question.
And why shouldn't we be surprised that she was on CNN? They're part of it too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's all gross.
Hey, we were going to promise this lady something. Can you give her a job until we get back in office? Yeah, sure. She's totally not qualified to do TV, but yeah, sure, we'll bring her on.
Honestly, you could not choose a worse cast of characters. I might want to do the Pepperdine Best Buy thing real quick here.
That's part of.
Which one?
That's part of Lib.
Oh, you're right.
She doesn't listen to me.
No, I do. I just have a few other things going on in my brain.
Oh, here we go.
There you go. So I do have 4 dizzyingly informative Jen Psaki sound bites for you that we're going to be firing up here right after this short break coming up on the flip side. Also, plenty from Jen Granholm. You know, this is the moment in the spotlight. You've got something critical happening. You've got your energy czar, your secretary there. We had Dan Bruyette before. Now we've got Jennifer Granholm. And I'm sure she's really plugged in to all the things that might benefit the American people and bring home costs, bring the costs down. I also have a very interesting article about some pretty serious conflicts of interest for Jen Granholm. How many Biden officials, including Biden himself, have these conflicts of interests with other countries or other businesses that they're trying to push us toward? Obviously, the focus, ladies and gentlemen, is away from fossil fuels. Let's get everybody connected to these battery vehicles, these electric vehicles, for which, of course, we don't have the resources for the batteries. But yeah, we'll worry about that somewhere down the road. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to have some sound from CNN as more of the cast of characters from the Biden administration further illustrates my point. They don't know what they're doing. They're playing a bit part in a tragic movie that we can't fast forward through quickly enough. We're also going to have the lib of the week, Hillary Clinton, dropping some fabulous nuggets of hypocrisy. Boy, is she the gift that keeps on giving. Of course, a couple Dr. Doom and the BS board connected to him. And then information regarding that tragic Christmas parade attack as an 8-year-old boy died yesterday from his injuries after having brain surgery. And his brother, I believe, is still in very grave condition. I do want to say this, though, and it is with great joy and delight that I'm able to say, and I'm glad that it happened. 5 million Americans watched Tucker Carlson's sit-down interview with Kyle Rittenhouse. It was very important that that many people did. 5 million Americans. Of course, there's a reason why the left hates Tucker Carlson. He is the new Donald Trump. He represents everything that Donald Trump represented: winning, focus, success, strategy, concern for everyone. And I'd like to juxtapose his ratings with Anderson Cooper 360. In the same time period, same time that Tucker Carlson and Kyle Rittenhouse were on the other night, Anderson Cooper got 792,000 viewers versus 5 million. All in with Chris Hayes on MSNBC, 1.2 million compared to 5 million. And our good friend, Brian Stelter. Oh, Brian. I think he got, 570,000 views, 574,000, the lowest yet in 2021. What a bummer. But this is the better part. Tucker, his demographics, people between the ages of 25 and 54, 9-1 watching him over the other networks. Ladies and gentlemen, people are paying attention. They're hungry for the truth. They're hungry for anybody who is sincere or authentic. And it ain't your mainstream media. I'm Wendy Bell. We're back right after this on the Wendy Bell radio program. Don't go anywhere. When my husband and I bought our house about 20 years ago, we had to have that whole house inspection. And the big thing that came back on the inspection was that our chimney liner was broken or had a break in it. So if we were to fire up a big wood burning, roaring fire, it could catch the house on fire. what do you do? Who do you go to? Like, I don't know. We didn't have cell phones then, so obviously you just go through the yellow pages and you hope to find somebody you trust. I wish I had known then about Piccadilly Chimney Sweeps. Piccadilly Chimney is a new sponsor of this program, and I really get behind what they do. They're about fair costs, expert work, and really talented, certified, professional chimney sweeps. Piccadilly Chimney will come to your house. They will clean out your chimney. They'll inspect it. They'll make any repairs that you could possibly need, including to the liner itself. But they also can repoint the firebox. They can look at the damper. They can go up to the top and they can see if all the components up there are intact. Are they safe? Can you and your family fire up your wood burning fireplace or even just your gas fireplace and be safe? This is what you need experts for, and you need a business that's been in business for 35 years. That is Piccadilly Chimney. They are serving Allegheny, Washington, and Beaver counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. And they're really great guys. I enjoyed talking to them and hearing all about what they do. Here's the number, 412-221-0196. Make the call. Get these guys out to your house. Your family deserves it, and so do you. Go to PiccadillyChimney.com. And remember, don't just pick any sweep. Piccadilly Chimney Sweep. I miss having a wood-burning fireplace. We ended up making ours gas, and it's nice, it's clean, but there's nothing like a wood-burning fireplace. Oh my. My talk of the chimneys made you hungry, has it?
No, I didn't eat breakfast. You know what happens when I don't eat breakfast?
Yes. He becomes hangry.
No.
And then he has to take his epilepsy medication.
Yes.
And you can't take it on an empty stomach. You usually eat in the morning. I would have given you my bad tasting breakfast sandwich.
I would have asked for it, but
oh my God.
So appetizing. You're like, oh, la, la.
That's right. This is for the live of the week. See, my mind is all over the place, Brock. Jason's broken up with us today. He's furiously working to get all of your orders to you, which he's been great to do. You know, this conflict of interest with Jennifer Granholm is really disgusting. Wouldn't you agree? Let's go.
Sure. Licorice for breakfast, yes.
Right?
I'm going to have to go to the cigar shop after work and see if I can trigger anyone with my shirt.
I do like that shirt. All right. Let's do a little Jen Psaki. You know, I think
Tony, I'm not allowed in.
for what?
He told me to go to a certain radio station to trigger people. I said, I'm not allowed in.
Isn't it silly? You never even did anything.
Mm-mm.
It's so petty. Life is just so petty.
Here we go.
Hi, Susan. Happy almost Thanksgiving, too.
What's that?
Oh, I was just talking to somebody.
Oh, excuse me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Wendy Bell radio program. And this is the headline we're going to be chewing on here in just a minute. Jennifer Granholm under fire for promoting Proterra, an electric vehicle company she served on the board of and held stock in. Isn't it amazing how many members of the Biden administration seem to be getting rich on certain things while you are paying the bill for outrageous mismanagement, high gas prices, high commodity prices, every kind of prices? I told you yesterday that I was going to take one for the team. I was going to watch Joe Biden in his press conference, which I did, by the way, all 11 minutes of it. Literally, this is what Joe Biden can give us before hopping on his chopper and choppering to a $30 million mansion to spend Thanksgiving on Nantucket with his family. Meanwhile, 6 people in Waukesha, Wisconsin have lost their lives. I didn't hear anything about that from him. Think about it. If Donald Trump had not gone, what a heartless jag. That rich guy thinks he can just go wherever he wants, not care about the... Wow, different rules for this administration.
And Jen, Energy Secretary.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Did you read how much she had in stock?
Oh, my goodness gravy. You know what?
You know what? About the cost.
You know what? I think we'll just go there. I'm going to rearrange our thing, okay? I'm going to read this to you because this is the administration that tells you it is incumbent upon you to fundamentally change how you live your life and go electric. Have you guys looked at the cost of electric vehicles? Have you guys looked to see what it costs to get a charging station at your house? Do you really think this is feasible for much of America that's just scrapping by right now to focus on something like that versus, oh, I don't know, just being able to go back to work and not have the government with its syringe aimed down my neck? Get a vaccine, hurry up, or lose your job. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen.
But what you're missing is you get a $13,000 tax credit.
Which makes the $100,000 car so much more affordable. So one more time, Jennifer Granholm under fire for promoting Proterra, an electric vehicle company she served on the board of and held stock in. Look, you don't have to look far to find conflicts of interests aplenty in this administration. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, some of those critical natural resources that could go into making the batteries of some vehicles and other things. Well, Hunter Biden, now fingered on the laptop from hell, connecting people in China with some of these folks in Louisiana so they could have the resources that are American. I wonder if the big guy got 10% off the top of that one. Then you've got John Kerry. John Kerry investing in what? Solar or some kind of solar power? Oh, yeah, let these people be the arbiters of our decision making. President Joe Biden's energy secretary, Jennifer Granholm, is the subject of an ethics complaint for promoting, in her role as a member of the executive branch, an electric bus company she sat on the board of and held over $1 million of stock in. What could possibly go wrong with that? Granholm, who oversees moving the country toward an electric vehicle transportation system and enjoys newfound powers after the passage of Biden's infrastructure package, is facing scrutiny for promoting Proterra, a Burlingame, California-based electric bus company she sat on the board of and held 240,520 shares of stock in, which garnered her $1.6 million when she finally divested them 157 days after her nomination. Interesting. Well, maybe we're looking into too much. Let's not jump to conclusions. You know, the way they did with Donald Trump and anything that he's doing. Granholm has been criticized for promoting Proterra in her official capacity as energy secretary. Well, that's not good. And for hyping grant access to companies with connections to Proterra. Wow, this sounds very interesting. The critics argue that Granholm's promotion of the company, which as of Monday had a market cap of $2.6 billion, has increased Proterra's visibility and thereby potentially increased the value of Granholm's stock in the company before she was required by ethics rules to sell her shares on May 24th. So you've got a period of time as an administration official, per the rules, to wash your hands of any company that could possibly present the slightest guise of a conflict of interest. Before that time was up, Granholm used multiple opportunities to not just promote Proterra, but also a handful of other companies that are feeder companies to Proterra. Nothing to see here. And that, these whistleblowers allege, boosted her own valuation of her portfolio. Amazing. Granholm's promotion of the Burlingame, California electric vehicle company came at the same time that Democrats in Congress were crafting and ultimately passing Biden's $1.2 trillion infrastructure package, which dramatically increases Granholm's authority as energy secretary to advance private sector companies in the transition to an electric vehicle-based transportation infrastructure. Well, if you're going to get uber rich off of something, who cares if you screw all the little people, all the, American citizens, in your insistence that it's of the best thing that we could do for the climate for everybody to transition to electric vehicles.
I hope she's rolling this over when she's done with Biden into a job on the board.
To go back on the board?
Right.
Well, of course. Why would you?
Paid. She had to pay.
Why
turn
wouldn't
in all her
she?
stock.
Yes. Why wouldn't she? The infrastructure package, which has been promoted by Biden, Vice President Harris, Granholm, Biden's Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, and other members of the administration, grants as much as $174 billion of your money, ladies and gentlemen, to green vehicles and $45 billion to zero emissions buses to replace 50,000 diesel transit vehicles and to electrify at least 20% of our yellow school bus fleet, and to build a national network of 500,000 EV chargers by 2030. You know what this plan is, regardless of being disgraceful, that she's obviously enriched herself on your back? This takes you back to my monologue. The friend whose business we invested in, all of the bells and whistles, no benchmarks for success. Just pie in the sky. This is what we're going to. Well, where's your accountability? Why don't we ever just start small? Let's focus on some city in, I don't know, Nebraska. Let's take a small town somewhere, take politics out of it, and we're going to see what it takes, what it costs to electrify a single school district's bus fleet. Doesn't that sound logical? We're going to take 20 school buses, all right? We're going to take out the diesel ones. We're going to work with a company on a small, not $174 billion scale, something more manageable. And we're going to put into the system 20 new electric school buses. We're going to look then and see how those school buses do with their batteries in the dead of winter. Do they stall? How long does it take to charge them? How often do they need to be charged? What's the cost analysis of leaving petroleum products and going to batteries? How much money do we save? Then, and only then, let's start something on a little bit bigger scale. We'll go out to a couple other. That's not how this administration works. In the darkness of night, in 2,500 pages of bloviating BS, they pass trillions upon trillions of pie in the sky garbage that rewards their friends and rewards them through the back door. Meanwhile, there's no proof. There are no benchmarks. There is no, this is our objective. And if we fail to meet that, we're going to scrap the plan and go back to, oh, I don't know, the way we've always done it. Why is it that our country, under this administration, has to do a complete about face? There's no phasing. There's no, let's try this. It's like the vaccine. It's all or nothing. I don't want to talk about your natural immunity. I don't want to talk about IV therapeutics like vitamin C. I don't care about ivermectin. Screw hydroxychloroquine. You have one option. We're putting all of our eggs in this basket. We're going to mass produce hundreds of millions of doses. And when things go badly and people start dying, and kids start developing rare cases of heart problems, we're not going to talk about that. No. Because there's so much money to be made in that one way or the highway, and all of them have a stake in the riches. I don't know about you guys, but aren't you tired of being the financier of all of these pie in the sky, corrupt BS, unproven changes to the way we, the people, live our lives? Does anybody else see the connection that I see? I can go on and on and on, and I will read a little bit more when we come back about some of Jennifer Granholm, our energy secretary's connections to Proterra, the electric bus company out of California, where she owns a crud ton of stock and has a vested interest in you fundamentally suffering through a transition to a green energy that is both unproven and unaffordable. In just a minute. Dr. Charles Simkovich and the Simkovich Concussion Institute have been helping thousands of people every year for years. This is what they do. They are concussion and traumatic brain injury experts. It's a very small niche. And if you think about a brain injury, and if you've ever experienced one yourself or somebody you love, you've watched them, you know how important the work that Simkovich Concussion Institute does is. Non-surgical, that's huge. And most of Dr. Simkovich's patients see relief in less than a week. This is even huger, okay? So I've got to ask you guys, if it's worth it to you to get your life back on track, to get the answers you need to have your brain healed, don't you think making one phone call is worth it? This is the number, 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Tell them Wendy Bell Radio sent you. They'll be delighted to take your call and meet you. Costs you nothing. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Friends of this show for a good reason. All right, when we come back, I want to connect a few more dots about Granholm because she's not the only one who's been putting her eggs in this pro-Terra basket. Oh, other high-ranking members of the Biden administration seem to have a little bit to gain from you fundamentally changing how you drive and live your life. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Mm-hmm.
Is that a word?
Huger. Huger, hugest. More huge. Hugification.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Sometimes when you're on a roll, you got to go with it.
Oh, that's when I do it.
Well, when you do it, I take great joy in bringing it up.
Right. Oh, must be doing something right today.
Why?
The spammers are out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
They're trying to sell their congratulations on 750 relief.
Oh, my goodness. Good for you.
Yeah. It must be my holiday bonus.
Let's see if huger is a word.
I'm surprised no one's up. People are calling you out on here. More huge.
Comparative adjective. Huger.
Oh.
I have to agree with you and the people on this stream, though. It sounds terrible. More huge is better. But it says huger is a word. I will say that I've never said that before. So you're right to call me out on it.
Hey, I'm trying to get them off. I try to block the spammers. Easy now.
Why? Are they getting fussy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Get them
no.
off, Brock.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well.
When it's your show, you can say what you want. There you go, Debbie. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm trying to get them off because it bothers me, but I may miss one or two.
The huger of the two.
I have a few things going on. Does that mean gooder is a word now, too?
What is another one of those? Funner.
Oh.
I hate that. I really hate that.
No, you know what mine is? Irregardless. That's my nails on a chalkboard, and I know I'm not the Nazi king of English, but irregardless just...
Yeah. I don't know why that even came about. Somebody just threw an extra IR in front of it.
They might have stuttered. I don't know. I
don't know. You didn't talk about my sassy shirt with the cool fly little bows. Come on now. Look at that.
What are you going to learn?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What are you going to learn? You already asked me about your sassy earrings and your...
I do have sassy
when
earrings.
When are you going to learn that I don't look at that stuff?
I think it's hilarious.
I look at the person inside.
Oh, right.
Here we go.
Ah, Jen. After serving on ProTerra's board for roughly 3 years, Granholm was nominated to be Biden's Secretary of Energy December 18th, 2020, later confirmed February 25th. During her confirmation process, she signed an ethics agreement letter, January 16th, in which she promised to step down from the ProTerra board and divest her ProTerra stock, quote, as soon as practicable, but not later than 100 days after my confirmation. Wow, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time to be able to talk about a company and boost up its share. Yes. 3 months, that's 5 months, 180 days. 180 days.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 100 days.
No, within
Wow.
that months-long period following Granholm's nomination, Proterra's stock price was potentially boosted by her nomination, as well as the administration's continued hyping of the company at various events. This is all so strange, isn't it? Can you imagine if Donald Trump did this? What? Although the company was not yet publicly traded at the time that Granholm sold her shares, there are indications that the Biden administration's hyping of Proterra benefited the company during this period. It was apparent when the stock of the company merging with Proterra spiked following a Biden event where? At a Proterra plant in April. Get out of town. I wonder why they chose that particular plant. On April 6th, Granholm signed a document that listed the stocks she had divested from. However, she left out her 240,520 shares of Proterra, which she estimated at the time to be worth up to $5 million. Neato. According to the full financial disclosure report she submitted 4 days after her nomination, her investment in Proterra was her largest stock asset, equal in value to her home in Oakland, California. $5 million house. It's amazing what you make when you're in government. Isn't that so amazing? Her Proterra stock and her home were the largest assets listed on her financial disclosure form. While Granholm continued to hold these Proterra stocks, her duties as energy secretary put her in a position to potentially benefit the company and its partners, and in turn, increase the value of the stock shares she still held. In fact, on February 24th, the day before the Senate confirmed Granholm, Biden signed Executive Order 14017, which gave Granholm, the now Secretary of Energy, instructions to lead the efforts to create a supply chain for electric batteries and other electric vehicle components. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Why is it that such a small fraction of America is made up of millionaires, and yet greater than 50% of Congress are millionaires? It's almost as though there's this strange self-enriching that goes on. Fascinating that Nancy Pelosi just bought a $25 million mansion in Florida. You know, where there's no state income tax and where there's a governor that allows you to live life according to your plans and not the government's. It's almost as though these imposters in this B-rate movie called America Under Democrat Rule are all about skewering you, the little guy, forcing you to get a vaccine that they know doesn't work, that they know is dangerous for a lot of people, so they can get rich. Makes me wonder why CVS doesn't sell ivermectin. Maybe because they've made $2 billion off of COVID so far, my friends. Follow the money. You don't have any of it, but you're paying for them to get richer every single day. All right, when we come back, I do want to play Granholm Sound and Jen Psaki. As Peter Doocy, the only person in the press pool with a working, functioning brain, actually puts her feet to the fire. So is Joe Biden going to apologize to Kyle Rittenhouse? Oh, the rich, rich answer. Right after this. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. I think they're so gross. They are so gross. Would you be able to, as an elected member of government, would you be able to, on the down low, enrich yourself while screwing over your constituents? Would you be able to wake up and look in the mirror? I know you. You would ravage yourself. You would absolutely destroy yourself over that. What is it? Is it just, this is just the game?
Maybe it's because I've never had power or money. Maybe it's once you get it,
You just
it's
want
never
more?
enough.
You just want more? Is that
Right,
what
it's never
Fauci and the
enough.
booster shot BS is all about? I can't lose this gravy train.
I'm curious to what the Pfizer breakdown of their new pill is compared to ivermectin. What do you bet they changed one little thing?
Right. Because it's going to, I don't know.
Oh, man. These spammers change one letter in their name and then start spamming again.
They love me. Makes me feel so warm and fuzzy.
And they do it so fast that it takes, like, if I don't see it right away, it takes me a second to find it.
No, I agree. To the viewer who just wrote, it's going to get even crazier. We're not even a year in. Is anybody else absolutely scared to death about what the hell is going to happen? I mean, literally. It's one thing to make a mistake and to invest in a friend's startup. Get it, you know? Don't ever do that again. It's another thing when it's your government and their whole mission is to be corrupt.
I can't, and we had this conversation off the air. I can't imagine taking money. Like, it'd be like me coming into you saying, hey, I have this great idea. And you being like, here's $5,000 to start your idea.
Mm-hmm.
It would ravish me. And, you know I'm going to say this in pretty big. $5,000 isn't that much money when it comes to starting a business. I would be ravished if I lost you $5,000. I'd be embarrassed.
Oh my God. And the nonchalance of it was so interesting. Yeah, well, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. You might want to claim that as a loss on your taxes. I'm like,
you think?
Wow. Glad we believed in you. Good. Okay.
Well, here's the good thing. You'll never have to sit through another pitch from that person.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Fail quickly, baby.
That's what I said to you too. Like, my fear is not working hard enough here. Like, not feeling like I'm working hard enough here. I can't imagine taking money.
Right. You know, it's one thing when you're working for yourself. You work harder when you're working for yourself, when you're obviously going to sink or swim on your own.
Right.
That's huge because you also reap the benefits. But if you had investors who were friends of yours, you would even work harder. I would work harder.
Right. And
I would be like, oh my gosh, I cannot disappoint these people. They trusted me. You know, I can't lose their money. I care so much.
And I had friends that offered to invest.
Right. In this. Right. Thank God I'm just independently fabulous and they didn't have to. I mean, come on.
What are we starting with?
Well, let's go in line now. Now that we'll go with 9:30.
I need to go get one of those magic mouses.
I found mine. I'll bring it in. Let me write it down. Because I have one for my big computer that's covered by a tarp in the basement.
Why Aren't you going to use it?
Well, it's covered by a big tarp in the basement, and until they finish that room where we used to do the show in. You guys, that's big news. The wood Wagoneer paneling. Mm-hmm.
Is it down?
Mm-hmm. Now they built in front of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
What'd they build?
It's all new drywall. All new walls. We got speakers in the walls and in the ceilings. Must be nice. 1%. That's right.
Speakers in the wall. I'm lucky I have speakers in the TV I bought.
Wow.
Thankfully, it was on sale.
That's me playing your violin.
Wow, shocker. I didn't know that.
You're so salty today. Salty. So, Brock, what time are you going to have Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow? Are you going to have it at 6:30 or 7 like I'm going to, because I won't get home from work to put the turkey in the oven until then?
Because I'd be asleep in the table with my head in the stuffing. Because some of us have to work on Friday.
No. Some of us are going Black Friday shopping in the middle of the night.
Are you?
Yes. I've never done that.
Where to?
I have no idea yet.
What's open?
I don't know yet. We're going to try. Ryan and Bobby are hook, line, and sinker in it. Well, at least Ryan is. Because Ryan thinks he can get stuff.
Ryan.
He's a good little capitalist.
I know you're not listening. It's not free. I tried to get Ryan involved in the business.
It wasn't his equipment to use to make us.
I was going to buy the equipment.
Really?
Because it's not that expensive.
How much is it?
To get something to do what he was doing, probably $400.
Really?
Yeah, you can buy little CNC machines to do that, but here we go.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, busy and underway officially now on the Wendy Bell radio program. Happy Eve before Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys are all going to have some wonderful family time. Okay, so did you guys see? I'm not a fan of GoFundMe. I don't know about you guys. I think there's other kind of faith-based sites to raise money. Give, Send, Go is one of them that I think doesn't have so many parameters. And, you know, I remember reading some very interesting and negative comments about GoFundMe, taking down conservative-based fundraisers for people. Do you guys remember Nate Sylvester? He was the police officer who lost his job for putting the video out regarding whatever. Anyway, there was a big fundraiser for him. It got bagged on GoFundMe, if I'm not mistaken. And so he had to go to Give, Send, Go. So anyway, Kyle Rittenhouse, he didn't start fundraisers, but people around him tried to set up fundraisers for his defense. And lo and behold, GoFundMe shut them down. Guess who's got a fundraiser up right now? Did up until about this morning. Guess who was able to raise money? Not Kyle Rittenhouse. Not Kyle Rittenhouse, who and GoFundMe says, you know, we don't like to allow fundraising for people who are accused of crimes.
Did he happen to just be part of a Christmas parade?
Correct. Daryl Brooks had a GoFundMe up for his defense. And it was only until people started going nutty over it that the hacks at GoFundMe actually took it down. Can you even imagine? This is where we are. I digress. Let's get into some sound. Jen Psaki, the gift who keeps giving every Thanksgiving for the turkey that she is. I love this first number one bite. Peter Ducey asking specifically, well, you know what? You guys didn't say the nicest things about Kyle Rittenhouse. Is JB going to do a little mea culpa? I'm sorry.
Another topic. Would the president ever apologize to the acquitted Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse for suggesting online and on TV that he is a white supremacist?
Well, let's be clear what we're talking about here. This is about a campaign video released last year that used President Trump's own words during a debate as he refused to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. And President Trump, as we know from history, and as many of you covered, didn't just refuse to condemn militia groups on the debate stage, he actively encouraged them throughout his presidency.
Oh, Jen Psaki tapping into a few elements of the Holy Trinity. Can't get away from Trump. Last time I checked, that's not what Peter was asking, Jen. So when you say, let's be clear, that opens the door for the BS to flow. So she says President Trump was all about white supremacy, wouldn't denounce it. Well, let's listen to this.
I denounce white supremacy, okay? Wait, are you listening? I denounce white supremacy. Okay. What's your next question?
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Any group of hate, I am, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's any other kind of supremacy, whether it's Antifa, whether it's any group of hate, I am very concerned about it, and I'll do something about it. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
What about David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
Let me ask you about this one.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done. I put out a tweet and I put out on Facebook that I totally disavow. And I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again. I mean, how many times are you supposed to disavow?
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am. I mean, there's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
What do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
And I disavowed David Duke, and I disavowed him the day before at a major news conference, but I disavowed David Duke.
How many times do I have to reject? I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. From the time I'm 5 years old, I rejected them.
38 times. 38 times. Just in that individual clip. Brock had to whittle it down because it was minutes longer. We could have gone longer. But let's go back to that first soundbite from Jen Psaki, because don't let the facts get in the way of your fiction, Jen. Remember, the question is, will Joe Biden apologize for calling Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist? Well, that was based on a video about Donald Trump not disavowing white supremacy. Really? Let's listen to that one more time.
Another topic. Would the president ever apologize to the acquitted Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse for suggesting online and on TV that he is a white supremacist?
Well, let's be clear what we're talking about here. This is about a campaign video released last year that used President Trump's own words during a debate as he refused to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. And President Trump, as we know from history, and as many of you covered, didn't just refuse to condemn militia groups on the debate stage, he actively encouraged them throughout his presidency.
Factually incorrect. Incorrect. Fake news. Purposeful misinformation, disinformation, malignant, purposeful narrative. When you've got nothing that you can stand for, all you can do is hate somebody else. And you hate the person who was winning. And that was Donald Trump. when you're CNN, when you're MSNBC, and everything you do sucks, all you can do is hate the person who's winning, and that's Tucker Carlson. Follow the path. Lies, lies, lies. And they scratch their head. I don't know why. I just don't understand why nobody believes us. Cut number 2. This is great. Apparently, Jen Psaki and the Biden administration didn't spend too much time paying attention to the facts of the Rittenhouse case. And it's ever so illustrated by this brilliance. Go.
So, what we've seen are the tragic consequences of that. When people think it's okay to take the law into their own hands instead of allowing law enforcement to do its job. And the president believes in condemning hatred, division, and violence. That's exactly what was done in that video.
Ah, right. When people take the law into their own hands, i.e. Kyle Rittenhouse, that white supremacist vigilante who drove hundreds of miles across state lines with an AR-47, an AK-47 rather, an AR-15, whatever they said it was. This is the narrative. Why did he take the law into his own hands? He didn't. He was there because you emasculated the police. He was there because you defunded the police. He was there because you and your Democrat governors didn't allow the police to have law and order. That's on you and your administration, Jen. Interesting how they seem to forget all of that. Number 3, she can't even... the loathing they have for Kyle Rittenhouse. She can't even say his name. Listen to her call Kyle Rittenhouse that individual. This is how they feel about you, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who love America, those of you who loved Donald Trump, those of you who loved everything he represented, they hate you. Cut number 3.
But if you're saying that it was just a campaign video, it wasn't. The president also gave an interview where he said this Rittenhouse was part of a militia coming out of Illinois. Have you ever heard this president referring to Trump say one negative thing about white supremacists? These are all things, none of this was proven in the trial. And Kyle Rittenhouse is saying that the president had actual malice in defaming his character. Is that what happened here?
The president spoke to the verdict last week. He has obviously condemned the hatred and division and violence we've seen around the country by groups like the Proud Boys and groups that that individual has posed in photos with.
Wow, that individual, Kyle Rittenhouse, she's saying, posed in photos with the Proud Boys. Did you guys see the interview yesterday? He alleges, Kyle does, that one of his attorneys, John Price, I guess. What is it?
I believe it's Pierce.
Pierce, excuse me, you're correct. John Pierce had arranged some kind of a photo op in a bar with then minor Kyle Rittenhouse. Why? One never knows. Unbeknownst to Kyle, a couple of the people he was taking pictures with, who he thought were just like burly security dudes, were Proud Boys. He had no idea. And so Jen Psaki is going to use that in this disgusting way to say, in her talking points, President Biden is against, hatred, division, and violence. Do you guys see the talking points? This is your freshman team administration. We have these talking points. We're going to use every tool in our tool belt. We're going to get focused on the problem. We're going to dig into it. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to hatred, division, and violence. He's against it all. They have only talking points. That's all they have. But to me, the most egregious and flippant thing Jen Psaki said, we're going to share with you here in just a minute. Because it basically tells you that all the pain that you're feeling right now, with costs going up, with your dollars not going nearly as far, they don't care. They just don't care. Tom Jacobin works in a very specific niche industry, and you don't think much about it until it's time for you to get insurance. If you are self-employed, if you're maybe a gig worker, or if you're a small business owner and you're trying to get insurance coverage for your workers, there's so many options out there. How do you know which way to go? And how do you know which way to go so that your employees and you don't get stuck with outlandish copays, high deductibles, and premiums that are completely unaffordable? What you do is you pick up the phone and you make an appointment with our friend Tom Jacobin. He's a patriot. He's the hardest working dude in insurance that we know, and he represents a product called New Era Health Plans. You know, with most traditional health plans, the consumer is functionally uninsured because of those huge deductibles and copays and crippling premiums. Tom knows a way around that. He can get you the coverage you need at a price that works for you. Trust me, he's a great guy. Here's the number. Jot it down, 724-230-4500. 724-230-4500. Check him out online. All of the things he has. One-stop shopping. It's called NewEraHealthPlans.com. Tom Jacobin. All right, when we come back, the insulting sucker punch to all of America, who has the audacity to suggest that things aren't doing so well right now. Money's not going very far, and you're worried? What Jen Psaki responds to that right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio program. I have a question for you. On Friday, when I'm not here and Dimitri's filling in, how are you going? So we need to record that today. The spots. How do you envision that?
We can talk after the show.
Okay, because I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah. We'll just. I thought about it last night. Now I'm not for that.
Okay.
We're already running spots.
Okay.
With clients doing it.
Uh-huh.
So it's almost
double dip.
Insincere.
Oh, okay.
You know.
For me to record something.
Yeah, so I think just for a day we'll be fine.
Okay.
And guys, if you typing on there, hey, take care of this troll. By the time you write that and I see it, if I haven't caught them, it's too far gone. You guys really participate.
We have huger problems than that.
They I appreciate it, but it's.
I don't think that's a word.
What, appreciate?
No.
Not here. Anyways, you guys comment so much that I see them at 10 at a time, 10, 15 at a time. So if I don't see them, don't have time to go back and find them.
Huger, hugest. It does sound wrong.
You are using the internet.
It is wrong, though. Extraordinarily large in bulk, quantity, or area. It's kind of like my big
ego.
A huge ship, very great.
I thought you were going to say it's kind of like you.
Kind of like you?
Yeah.
No. Shut up.
Huger.
No.
Extraordinary.
Supercalifragilistic?
Yeah.
No. Wow. Why would I say something about you like that? I would never.
Right.
I would never.
Right.
Psaki finally
Husky,
gets.
Maybe.
No.
Have you ever watch? We'll see if this is fake news. Have you all ever called me Husky?
Absolutely.
On the air?
Yeah, multiple times. Are you or are you not Husky?
Hey, Team Zeppelin, I can see every. Yes, I can see every comment from both the app and Facebook. So that's usually the trolls are on Facebook. Although I did have to ban somebody today from the app.
Joe had to ban somebody. Oh,
Save that story.
All right, so I want to, as I promised you leading into that break, I want you to hear the ambivalence of Jen Psaki when Peter Doocy asks about the optics of the president just kind of getting on his chopper and choppering to his, $30 million mansion for the holidays as real Americans are struggling in very real and palpable ways. Listen to this.
But beyond that, I'll leave it to his comments around the verdict.
And then just one more topic. What message does it send to the middle-class Americans President Biden says that he's trying to help, who are struggling this week to cover the cost of the most expensive Thanksgiving ever, that the president is going to take a few days off at a billionaire's compound in Nantucket?
Well, first I would say, I don't know if you've cooked a turkey before, but a 20-pound turkey is a pretty big turkey. I think we can all agree. They're about $1 more. So not to minimize that, any increase in prices is something the president is concerned about.
$1. Your Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen, is only going to cost you $1 more. So all of you out there with these unreasonable concerns, those of you who have actually gone out and purchased all of the machinations of your Thanksgiving dinner, so she's full of it. I love this. PolitiFact, the hacks over there, for the first time since this administration, this farcical administration took office, allegedly, Jen Psaki gets fact-checked over inflation claim. What? Wow. At this point in Donald Trump's presidency, I think he was probably already impeached. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was called out by PolitiFact for claiming, in reference to the $1.75 trillion spending bill, that no economist out there is projecting that this will have a negative impact on inflation. See her comments right there about the $1, kind of a trickle down of that BS line that they're trying to sell you. Turns out even PolitiFact is willing to acknowledge that statement is just wrong. Numerous economists, including some who are supportive of the White House's agenda, have gone on the record saying there probably will be inflationary effects. Who are these idiots? Does anybody not think that this is going to have an impact on everybody's bottom line, except these morons and the 17 Nobel laureate economists that they like to quote, and the clowns from Moody's? Wow. I'm an economist, and I disagree, Douglas Holtz-Eakin, president of the center-right American Action Forum, told PolitiFact. We know there's lots of spending in the bill, and that it's front-loaded in the early years. He says if you can cut taxes and increase spending financed by debt, that will put upward pressure on inflation. Other economists have the same view. Ethan Harris, head of global economics research at Bank of America, quote, you should wind up with a primary deficit financed spending bill that is going to be rolled out in an economy near full employment. It would make the labor market even hotter and create even more price pressure. It goes on and on and on. According to Fox News, this was the first time PolitiFact fact-checked a claim from Psaki since she became White House press secretary. Does anybody want to fact-check that it's never been so costly to celebrate Thanksgiving? Up 14% this year, according to the Farm Bureau's annual Thanksgiving survey, the highest price in the survey's history. The cost of a whole turkey is at a record high, up 25% since last year. That's more than $1, Jen, nearly doubling compared to the price in 2019. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, rolls are up 15%, cranberries up 11%. Nearly everything on your dinner table is more expensive last year as inflation has hit a 30-year high. I don't know if you've ever cooked a turkey, Peter, but a 20-pound bird, pretty big bird, it's only going to cost about $1 more. Oh, there's your disconnect. Only to be outdone by the aforementioned Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm. I've got some whoppers coming out of her mouth. Coming up right after this on the Wendy Bell radio program. Don't go anywhere.
Are you
This is where it's.
Huh?
Prices have gotten so out of control in Florida. The 70-year turkey shoot conducted by a nonprofit to give residents free frozen turkeys had to cancel as the turkey prices in the region nearly doubled. I mean,
it's all semantics because it went up $1 a pound.
Most often we pay between 49 cents and 69 cents a pound of turkey. And we try to do between 10 and 11 pound bird, which makes it very economical for us, said a volunteer with the Seville Village Improvement Association in Daytona Beach. This year, turkeys in the area are selling around $1.19 a pound, making it unaffordable for the nonprofit to buy the 60 turkeys they typically give away before Thanksgiving. You're so out of touch. Have you ever made a turkey?
No.
You've never made a turkey?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Do you like turkey?
I do. I look forward to Thanksgiving every year.
Do you?
I like...
What's your favorite part?
Well, Kate's grandma makes the stuffing. That she puts bits of turkey in the stuffing.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
I could make a meal off just the stuffing.
So she doesn't stuff or she does stuff the turkey.
No, she makes it on the side.
On the side.
So it's got the crusty top on.
Mm-hmm. Now you're a big gravy guy too. I love gravy.
I'll be honest with you. Her stuffing is so moist it doesn't need gravy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe you used that word.
I used it just for you. I know you love the word moist.
It's up there with panties. So creepy. Oh, wait. Oh, I made a list. I made a fun little list. Did you see how they're trying to change all of these words so that people who commit crimes aren't offended?
Yes.
I made a little list. I thought it would be fun. But I need a good for looting. I need a good
appropriating.
Yeah.
I appropriated a TV from the back wall of Target without having to pay for it.
I've got pedophile, sex offender, criminal, riots, looting, arsonist. Any other good words that would be offensive to the criminal element that we would have to tiptoe around?
Thug.
So, ooh, thug. Thug is a good one. Thug. The person who just wants a hug.
Brock needs to learn how to smoke a turkey. Brock smokes cigars, not turkeys. But I did have a turkey one time in a looting 5-finger discount.
I didn't understand what you just said.
Looting equals 5-finger discount. I stole it.
Oh.
Anywho,
I didn't understand.
I deep fried a turkey one time.
Yeah?
Have you ever had deep fried turkey?
Did you set your house on fire?
No, it was my brother's house.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever had?
You could deep fry. You could deep fry a shoe, and I would think about it.
By the way, the wings yesterday were like the 12 minutes on each side.
That was one.
I was not happy about having to take 24 minutes. I'm kind of a guy who likes convenience, and I didn't want to wait 24 minutes.
Do you know what it takes to cook a chicken wing that's raw?
What did you think I cooked?
Well, I thought you said that they were cooked.
No.
They were just plain old
seasoned. They were already pre-seasoned.
Wow, God forbid you should put a salt shaker on that.
I hate you.
I know. I know you do.
And this is after I make a special trip, which probably takes 20 minutes out of my day.
It's at least 20. It's more than that.
It is. I was trying to be.
It's probably 30. 30 minutes to buy the little silly sorbets that my kids like. You're so nice. And you brought beer over, which is always a crowd pleaser. Oh, please. Oh, please.
She never brings beer to my house.
I've never been invited to your house.
I'm not stopping you from dropping it off. It's cold enough. I'll put it on the front stoop. I'll get it.
Oh, I'm not allowed in his house. but he walked his muddy shoes all throughout mine for 3 months while we did the show in the basement. Excellent.
Hey, you have to get new carpet down there if you're getting
Oh,
new
yeah.
drywall.
I don't know. That's fabulous. Oh, I can't wait.
Who puts white carpet
I didn't.
in a basement?
I'll
where
give
kids
you
are
the.
eating
Who's eating in the basement?
Really? How many times did we go down the show? There were empty cans of pop and bags of
chips.
Chips.
So
yeah.
Gross. My kids are nasty. That's all I can say.
Think
Love
after
them
the
to death.
mother.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Watch the
You know
dog
me.
licking his crotch every day.
Mm-hmm.
So nasty. I actually threw a slipper at my dog one time. I'm like, stop it.
Oh, you're so mean.
Here we go.
All right.
Hey, you never told the Joe story.
No idea. Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned into your source for common sense conservatism, the Wendy Bell Radio Show. Great to have you along. So we spent the first hour or so talking about these ridiculous conflicts of interest, specifically this time. And you know, the mainstream media is not going to be even remotely interested in investigating Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who holds 260,000 shares of stock in a company that the Biden administration is pimping to make its electric batteries for its fleet of school buses, you know, because that's what is really going to move the needle and save planet Earth, getting your kids to school on an electric school bus. Can't wait. So we've got sky-high gas prices, up $1.29 in less than a year per gallon. So yesterday, Biden releases 50 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve or whatever, thinking that's really going to do a lot. Oh, sure, that'll be fabulous. I want you to hear the specificity. The person in charge of energy for the United States of America, the person who should probably have her fingerprints on all of the data, how much we drive, how much we use, where we get it, where is it coming from, what are our options, how do we lower prices, who can we talk to? I want you to hear Jennifer Granholm with dizzying intellect admit that she does not know what the hell is going on. Cut number one.
There are various figures about this, so I'm curious if you know, how many barrels of oil does the U.S. consume per day?
I don't have that number in front of me, sir.
So some suggest it's about 18 million, which would suggest you're releasing less than 3 days' worth of supply from the petroleum reserve.
Well, that's not going to get us very far. 3 days. Do you guys know what the reserve is for? The reserve is not for failing poll numbers. It's not for an administration that is woefully in over its head. It's not for bailing us out. The strategic oil reserve is for when we get attacked and when we need fuel to keep our Air Force up in the skies. It's for an emergency. You know, I was looking at this. The U.S. Energy Information Administration, world oil production in 2020. 2020, 1 year ago. Guess who made more oil than any other country? The United States. 15% of world oil production came from the United States. Russia, 13%. Saudi Arabia, 12%. Canada, China, and Iraq, all 5%. The Emirates, Iran, Brazil, 4%. And Kuwait, 3%. What do we make now? Nothing. You've got the Keystone XL pipeline shut down on day number 1. No more drilling, no more projects, none. And you have an administration that has no idea how much we the people need oil. That's scary as nuts. It goes on. This is some of the really dizzying data you get from this administration. This is going to take you right back to what I said at the beginning. They got the pie charts. They got all the neat, glossy, tools, and they've got nothing that's actually meaningful whatsoever. Listen to Energy Secretary Granholm.
To be really clear, obviously, the president does not control the price of gasoline. No president does. But what we're seeing right now is this global mismatch between supply and demand. Oil production is lagging behind as the rest of the economy roars back to life after the shutdown. So we in this administration are leaving no stone unturned as we examine the market to figure out what's behind the high prices.
We're leaving no stone unturned.
When you say examining the market, you don't even know how much oil we use per day. So
how much can you examine?
What page are you on?
Who are we
She's
going
got
to
to be on page 1.
She's in the forward, right? She's still in the index. She's like, wow, petroleum, what it means, page 1. She's in the table of contents.
No, she's me looking at how big is this book?
Right.
How many pages?
How invested am I in this? And is there a Cliff Notes? That is your energy secretary. Well, we've got this weird thing. It's called Basic Economics 101 and supply and demand. So when there's not a lot of supply and there's a lot of demand, prices go up. But when there's lots of supply and no demand, those prices go down. So what we've got going on here is we've got this straight. She's talking out of her rump. This is what we're doing. I'm going to stand up there, kind of like my friend with a big strategy for me to invest in his business. Well, I've got all these. Here's what we're going to be doing. See, if you look at this pie chart here, and then I got my PowerPoint. When I sit down, I'm going to turn off the lights so we can pull out this PowerPoint. And then if you see here on the projector, we're going to do this, and we're going to do. Does anybody just say, hi, Secretary, do you have any idea what you're talking about? I'm waiting for one person to not be like, oh, yay, thanks, Jen. What do you know? Because we know that last year, we were the world oil producers of planet Earth. 15% came from the United States. Now, we've got Joe Biden on the phone with China saying, can we get some more, please? Yeah. And then cut number 3, more hyperbole, few specifics. Here's Jen Granholm.
But this administration has been looking at every single tool that we can use to shield families from the rising costs of fuel. And, that's why the LIHEAP funds is a very important tool for low-income home energy assistance. The American Rescue Plan has additional funds to be able to help families pay their utility bills this winter. And of course, the president today, as Jen just said, has announced that he's directing the Department of Energy to make up to 50 million barrels of oil from the nation's Strategic Petroleum Reserve, or SPR, available.
She gives you the acronym. It kind of sounds like she knows what she's talking about. But she doesn't realize that 50 million barrels lasts through Friday. So then what? I actually took down something that she had said, and I wrote it down. Let me find it because it's so ambivalent. Let me see.
I will say, too, LIHEAP. It's for low income, not all income. So that shouldn't be a tool in your belt.
Well,
that should
and
be last
the
resort.
tool is open up the Keystone Pipeline. Allow us to be energy independent. Shove your climate change garbage and allow us to be who we are instead of pushing us in an unaffordable electric car avenue that enriches you and the hundreds of thousands of stock shares you have in these various companies. Madam Secretary, this is what she also said. Consumers should, quote, start to see some tick down over the next bit. That's what she said. Prices. Well, consumers should start to see some tick down over the next bit. Wow. I feel so much better now. In fact, let's book that vacation now. I'm sure we're going to be able to afford that. The out of touch dystopian B-rate movie they're in. Do you guys see what I'm talking about now when I say that? Who are you? Besides totally not good at your jobs. Much to her credit, and I don't give much credit ever to CNN, Brianna Keller, whatever the hell her name is. So she's got this blowhard. His name is Jared Bernstein. He's with the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Again, this is another bit part played by somebody who doesn't know what he's saying. This is where verbal spaghetti was invented. We're going to talk a lot. You're going to see my mouth move. I'm going to have really emphatic hand gestures to make it sound like I know what I'm doing. And we're going to do stuff like this with our hands. But we're never going to tell you anything that actually means anything at all. So here's Jared Bernstein of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, as the anchor on CNN is asking him, all right, 50 million from us. Are these other countries going to follow suit? Listen.
Okay, so how much are other countries going to be helping here? We're looking, China seems like it's on board. Japan, yes, maybe some limitations. South Korea, India. How much are these other countries releasing?
We don't have a readout on that because I don't believe that information has been released. We're releasing, as we mentioned, 50 million barrels.
Do you think they'll match you?
I think some of them probably will, yes.
I think some of them probably will, yes. It's sort of up there with consumers should start to see some tick down over the next bit. I feel much better. Thank you so much. She continues. Cut number 2. What's up with the 50 million? Well, is this an arbitrary number? Because our energy secretary didn't even know what our daily usage was. Why 50? Go.
How did the White House come to this number, 50 million barrels?
Well, this is Joe Biden doing precisely what he said he would do, using every tool at his disposal to help the American consumer get through this period where production isn't quite up to demand. So 50 million barrels includes 32 million of exchange, that is barrels that'll come out of the reserve now, go back in later, and 18 million barrels that were already scheduled to go out from the reserve. And that's the amount that we think would be useful to help middle-class consumers get through this period of elevated prices, helping to already push down oil prices, and we're going to see that at the pump soon as well.
What? Crude oil prices after Joe Biden announced the 50 million went up 3%. They're already ticking down. Where? He's using every tool at his disposal. No, he's not. Because the biggest one I can think of is waiting to be tapped into again, and the thousands of jobs that were going to go with it. You know, that whole thing that we were doing, they made us energy independent, and the largest world oil production, oil producers in planet Earth. Remember that? Well, he's going to use every tool he can. Consumers should start to see some tick down in the next bit. This is what they think of you. And wait, just to make it an even sweep here. Cut number 3. This is all you need to know about this administration and the quote-unquote experts who are playing the bit role as advisors to this faux administration. Go.
Okay, but help me out with what consumers should expect. Are we talking weeks? Are we talking, a couple weeks? Are we talking several weeks? How much will gas be reduced? Can you get into those details for me?
Well, look, it's a global market with lots of different players in it, so I don't think I can give you exactly the number of cents that we should expect the price of a gallon of gas to come down. What I can tell you is that oil is already down 10% since this discussion began. That will show up at the pump, and it will show up as not just gas prices stop moving up as they've done, about $1 up over the past year, but they'll start coming down as well.
What? He doesn't even know what he said. He's like, oh crap. She's actually a dog on a bone. She's not going to let it go. Well, you know, it's a global market. Yeah, you know what? It wasn't when we were energy independent, you fool. Well, it's going to look and maybe it's going to come on down in a bit. What? This is your rationale. This is your administration. These are their advisors. And you wonder why we're in such a world of hurt. But thank God, turkeys only cost $1 more. I feel much better now. You know, when I think about people who suffer from sciatica, spinal stenosis, degenerative disc disease, or bulging discs, the thought of that makes me cringe. It's awful. Completely impacts your ability to live to your fullest extent, right? And oftentimes people who have these problems are told, hey, look, the only solution we can come up with is spinal surgery. That's scary. And the rehab has got to be awful. But there is a solution, an alternative solution, and it's non-surgical. And a friend of this program, Dr. Richard Rafferty from the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, is the guy who does it. It's called intra-disc nutrosis, 98% successful. I love hearing stories of people who fly in from Washington. They come from as far away as California just to sit down with Doc Rafferty and say, can you help me heal? Can you help my discs heal? And he can look at your scans and tell you if you're a candidate before you invest one penny or one moment of time. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. Check him out. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. 412-906-9600. Dr. Richard Rafferty. You're going to love him. All right, when we come back, how about the lib of the week? That's on deck. We've also got some great Hillary Clinton hypocrisy. She is really just so gross. I'm just going to say that. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. We're back right after this. Battle out.
Huh?
Battle out.
Unless you want to move to 20.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So wait, can I say something about Ireland contracting real fast?
You can do whatever you want. It's your world. The rest of us are just living in it.
Well, at least we finally figured that out.
Right.
Gary and Diane Ireland run a wonderful business. It's called Ireland Contracting. And their focus in the home remodeling industry is on the exterior of your house. So the siding, the windows, the gutters or the soffit and the fascia, the roofing and the windows, all of it. Skylights, they do all of the home exterior stuff. They have Amish installers who are fantastic craftsmen, and their reputation precedes them. They are an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred dealer. Only top 1% of roofers in the country get to be called that by Owens Corning, and they are among them. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Guild Quality, and by the Wendy Bell Radio program. They invite you to call, have Gary come out to your house, scope out your project, give you some ideas, help you put it on paper, figure out your budget, and then execute and make your house absolutely spectacular. This is the time. Get in touch with them. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Go to IrelandContracting.com. Tell them we sent you. They are outstanding.
You sure you want to do Lib of the Week now?
No, I'm not going to do it now.
Why don't we work in the your boy Biden? Didn't he have some sound?
Yes, we could do that. Ooh, I might not.
Him and his Ron Burgundy moment.
You know what? Tell me what the three. I think I have three. I didn't write them down.
Things are starting to change. End of quote. Blames other countries. Blames gas on other countries.
So for 11 minutes, I sat down and watched Joe Biden try to stammer his way in the fight in the fake White House. I really don't understand the rationale to have this set across from the White House. Don't tell me this is about COVID. Isn't everybody there vaccinated? Everybody is supposed to be vaccinated. All White House staffers, all the press pool. Don't tell me you can't accommodate, as we've done for generations, managing the press at the White House. So he's got to go across the street, sit at a desk that makes it look like he's somewhere important, that he's not, and give prefabbed, squinty eyes, teleprompter read, no questions asked or answered speeches. And it's so disingenuous. There's nothing that's heartfelt. There's nothing that's authentic. And he sounds like he's got a lozenge in his mouth or that his teeth are about to fall out. I can't tell what it is. But I did grab 3 little pieces of sound. I want you to hear Joe Biden trying to tell you that, no. You guys have it all wrong. I know you're out and about. I know you're paying your bills. I know you're intimately connected to your finances, your financial reality, and the complete excrement show of this faux production of an administration. But he's got a different take. Quite a bit different. This is moments before he hopped on the chopper and flew to Nantucket. Go ahead.
A lot of innovation. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change.
Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. What? What actions? You picked up the phone and called some people and said, hey, I'm getting freaking slammed in these ratings. I'm really hopeful that you can help, shoot us some oil. Can you help us out, Japan? Hey, China, what are you doing, China? Can you help? Hey, England, you guys have any extra that we could borrow? I swear we'll pay you back. Things are already getting better, he said. Don't you feel it? Because of the actions his administration is taking, things are going to start to tick back down in a bit. Okay. And then he says the same, this is it, but it's a little bit longer. I want you to hear what he says at the very end of this brief soundbite. Go ahead.
A lot of innovation. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. In the past 3 weeks, the number.
End of quote. End of quote. He absolutely just pulled a Ron Burgundy without the expletive. End of quote. What? You can't tell while reading a teleprompter that something is a soundbite? End of quote. Are you kidding me? He can't even come out and be like, look, my fellow Americans, I know that things are tough right now. We are going to make it better. And you're going to start to see relief by next week. Because he can't. Because he doesn't know where he is. End of quote. Right? It's like him saying, check, please. Where do I go now? Or I'm going to get in trouble. Where should I stand? Oh, there's a blue dot on the floor. Oh, I see it. Hi, Jill. What? And then finally, there's no better verbal spaghetti play when all else fails and you're sucking wind, you're going down with your ship of fools. The best strategy is always, regardless, blame someone else. Cut number 3.
A big part of the reason Americans are facing high gas prices is because oil-producing countries and large companies have not ramped up the supply of oil quickly enough to meet the demand.
Oh, I feel so much better now. Oh, darn you, Germany. Oh, all you other people out there. Oh, that's right. Germany's not part of it. Come on, man. That's why you guys need the live of the week. And he's coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. They're so bad. End of quote. End of quote.
Just put it on the screen. He'll read anything.
I'm like, what? Are you crazy?
Well, just yesterday, too, he was feeding, or he was at some breakfast or dinner with people. And he's like, oh, my wife is calling me. I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe. Oh, I'm supposed to introduce
I saw that.
The
Native,
reverend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes like this. He goes,
here you go.
Oh, I'm supposed to introduce the chaplain?
And he gives him the microphone.
Maybe a name, maybe a hey, thanks.
I mean, honest to goodness.
Sounds like a new shirt. End of quote. And just, can you imagine just end the quote with his dash Joe Biden?
Like, holy moly.
It's sad. Look, here's the deal. End of quote. Come on, man.
Well, and Jen's favorite is let's be clear.
Or circle back.
Let's be clear is code for I'm about to lay a big one on you.
So what's the Joe story you were going to tell?
I have no idea. I forget. I seriously have no idea. How did I bring it up?
I don't remember.
I don't know in what context we were talking. And neither do you. So don't give me that rolling your eyes garbage.
I have a few things on my mind.
Oh, and I don't.
No.
That live broadcast,
All
3 hours of talking.
Talk.
Okay, good. Glad we can figure this out.
Oh, here we go. Get off the cross. There goes the holiday bonus.
Goes. I'm going to start assessing docking of pay.
What? Wow. Wait till you go for a piece of sound and it's not there.
I can still play it. I have devices.
Oh, you're going to do one of these?
Yeah.
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 It would sound fantastic.
Yeah, it will sound like trash, but...
I was talking about trolls. Talking about blocking someone. Joe banned someone from something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did that last night, too. Somebody was being noxious on the Facebook page, and he was like...
Which page?
Bugger off. I forget. I don't think he's an admin on this page, so it had to be the other one.
Well, he could be on you're an admin. Well, that was a riveting story. I'm glad we had to wait an hour for that.
I let it go for a reason. Let it go, let it go.
Oh, jeez. She sings as well as she dances.
I am a fabulous singer and dancer.
Right.
I'm huger
There's
at
not
both.
Fear in the world. Oh, and if you guys have forgotten, tomorrow will be Bad Joke Friday / Thursday for the week. WBRBrock at gmail.com. Legally, you can't dock unless he signs off.
I can do anything.
Tammy's my new HR person. Did you hear that? That's sinister. I can do anything.
Right.
Probably have leftovers for dinner tonight.
All right, whatever.
Wonder what beers they have on tap. Are you a Christmas beer person?
No.
Oh, you're not into the... And into that conversation. Are we putting a plaque up for Employee of the Month? I'm thinking I have a chance at that.
No. No, you don't.
And there's only 2 of us. Oh, boy, I wonder who's going to win every month. What color is Christmas beer? That's not what I mean. I like all the Christmas brews. No, well, I don't like them all. Mad Elf.
Wait, what are you saying?
St. Nicholas Bach.
Beers. Oh.
Have you ever had St. Nicholas Bach from Penn Brewery?
No. Should I?
Yes.
Really?
Jason can't win Employee of the Month. He
It's
doesn't even know what any
freezing
of
in
the
here. Are you
buttons do.
freezing?
No. We need a suggestion box. The boss is a... Come on, man. End of quote. One hour till you come back tomorrow.
Well, I'm taking Ryan driving after this.
There we go. You can drive me to the bar and drop me off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
You know, sometimes I ask myself, I sit here and I follow so much of the garbage that's being put out every day. And I have to ask myself, do we think that the left purposely does not pay attention to reality because they're so deeply entrenched in whatever it is that they're trying to get across? Is it a purposeful thing? Do they pay no attention? Do they see the truth and choose not to report the truth? I don't know. I struggle with this. And I also struggle. I wish that there was a leftist in my life that I could have a reasonable conversation with, who would sit down with me and I could say, so tell me, are you pleased with what's going on? Is this what you were hoping for a year ago? Or is this kind of off the rails? What is your thought process? Do you have the ability to have an honest conversation with me? You know, if Kyle Rittenhouse's case did anything for us, it was sort of another course of the meal we were served with Donald Trump again and again and again, where every single thing the man did was vilified. His words were taken out of context. His meanings were twisted, regardless of how much time he spent in front of the media. Every single thing he did was under attack. For a while, I was just thinking it was just Donald Trump. He absolutely held a key that triggered leftists. Like I'd never seen them triggered before. Absolutely out of their minds, deranged. Brock had sent me something today, maybe last night. Something Bette Midler, not Bette Midler. Oh my God, Joy Behar, who looks like Bette Midler. I could see how I would get that confused.
They're both crazy.
Oh my heavens, that's an understatement. It was a tweet from Joy Behar. I don't care about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't care if Democrats are pedophiles. I'm proud to be a Democrat. Nothing will ever change my mind. Not even this. I don't know exactly what she's referring to. Obviously, it has something to do with the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, presumably. Can you imagine how far gone you have to be in your politics? When Donald Trump was accused of colluding with Russia, I said to Brock, well, it needs to be investigated. Let's find out. Let's find out the truth and go from there. I will be very disappointed, but if it's true that he broke the law, then he needs to be done. Get him out. You remember me saying that to you.
I do. And Joy Behar, by the way, she does care about pedophiles because when the Catholic Church was going through all that they were going through, she was all over it. So she cares about, like most liberals, certain pedophiles, but not other pedophiles.
I love America. I simply choose conservatism because it more firmly lines up with my values than any other ideology. I'm not hook, line, and sinker card-carrying member of anybody. I do have my concealed carry permit. It's a terrible picture. Scary.
Aren't they all?
Thank you. But to be that firmly entrenched, that deluded to say, I don't care if they rape kids. I love Democrats. Wow. And yet we're the problem. Okay. Why do I say this? Today's lib of the week is so illustrative of the drive-by, fly-by mentality about information gathering. Almost as like anything that goes against what you think should be happening, they don't hear. They don't pay attention. So I'm going to describe to those of you who are listening on the radio, who are not watching. I want to describe to you what you're going to be hearing. And the specificity of it is kind of irrelevant. The big brush, broad brush is. You're going to be talking about or seeing an African-American male student about whom some documentary on his college campus is being made. And this young man is going to take this opportunity to make a statement about Kyle Rittenhouse. Except the statement he's making is so embarrassingly wrong, he just looks stupid. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is time
now for the Wendy Bell radio program.
So love me, love me, love me. I'm a liberal.
Liberal of the week.
That just tickles me. I'm sorry. It's the little things. We got to grab onto the little things on the crazy train and at least enjoy that. So I want you to enjoy today's liberal of the week. And we do have a little bit of a breakout discussion afterwards to show how many woke companies have lost their collective shizzle in their triggerdom. Here we go.
Documentary coming out, Film Fest, December 16th. We've been shooting one about me, a day in the life of Daquan Nichols. Thank you, JMU. Thank you to the entire Duke family. Thank you for living on Instagram and everything like that. After this post, I will be logging off. I simply wanted to publicly announce that the verdict of the Kyle Rittenhouse case has been nothing more than a disgusting reminder of what it's really like to be black in America. All the protesting, everything we went through in 2020, we really would think would make a change, but clearly it doesn't. We scream Black Lives Matter, but it doesn't matter enough for these people who are in power, the jury, the judge, anybody, to charge this man with murdering and taking away two beautiful black lives at the ripe ages of 26 and 36. It's disgusting. We can't go to the store, recipes Trayvon Martin. We can't lay in bed, recipes Breonna Taylor. And we can't even protest without our lives being on the line. And that's what we fight for,
Should I be the one to break it to him that it wasn't black people who got killed?
He literally got everything wrong about the case.
100% wrong. I don't even think he got the ages of the people right.
Beautiful people. They were child rapists.
They were felons. You know, I don't know what James Madison University, I'm presuming that's what JMU he's talking about is. I don't know what the hell they're teaching these people, but it ain't about facts, right? It's not about nuance. It's not about even paying attention. Don't let your narrative get in the way of the facts. Literally. Only to be outdone. And here's the breakout. This is great. So apparently,
we don't often have breakout
well,
sessions.
no, I think sometimes we need to go deeper. We need to go deeper in what's going on. So Kyle Rittenhouse's case was not racially motivated at all. It was a case of self-defense, and we know this. And that is why he was exonerated. Apparently, this has been deeply troubling for many people. In the wussification of America that has been done by people like that young man in that video and your liberals, your leftists out there. Thank you for doing this. I think we probably need this moment to remind ourselves that some people are deeply traumatized by Kyle Rittenhouse, even though he has nothing to do with them at all. At all. Thank goodness Best Buy is tapped in with this. Best Buy puts this up. The verdict in Kyle Rittenhouse's trial stirs many emotions, and it's another difficult moment for our nation. While these events can be challenging and deeply hurtful, I hope you will take a moment to reflect on the values that unite us as a company and as a nation. We can do better, and we will do better, as each of us, as individuals, allies, and human beings, pressed together for better outcomes. I know events like these can take a toll on our mental health and emotional well-being. Please know that Best Buy is here to support you. You're encouraged to take advantage of our mental health resources as you're buying a television set. You might need a safe space, including the Life Solutions Counseling Service. This employee assistant program offers free confidential services available 24/7 for all employees and anyone living in their household. By engaging together and supporting one another in vulnerability, empathy, courage, and grace, we can continue to strengthen our community, in community to stand together as one. Steadfast together, some hack whose name we don't care about. I will never buy another thing from Best Buy. Pepperdine, dear student, in light of the recent announcement of the verdict of the Kyle Rittenhouse case, we're reaching out to extend care. Dr. So-and-so, Vice President for Community Belonging, and Chief Diversity Officer, thank God we've got that person, along with Dr. So-and-so, Associate Dean of Student Affairs for Diversity in Belonging, will be in the I See a Student Lounge from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We're so passionate, we're going to give you 1 full hour of our time, 1 singular hour. Should anyone be interested in speaking with them, sincerely, Rebecca. Pronouns, she, her, hers, Director of Intercultural Affairs. Oh, Pepperdine, I feel so much better now. That 1 hour, it's going to really move the needle, Pepperdine. And Kaiser Permanente, not to be outdone, jumps onto the jury verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse case in Kenosha, Wisconsin, is driving a great deal of conversation and concern around the country. The verdict in the trial itself has served as a painful reminder for many of us, the civil unrest and societal tensions that still exist in our nation today, like thugs and child rapists trying to kill people with their skateboards. As an organization, we're monitoring the developments and activities in our local communities with the focus of protecting the health and safety of our members, our workforce. If you're feeling troubled, please know the Kaiser Permanente Employee Assistance Program is available to support you, and I encourage you to take advantage of this free and confidential service. Kaiser Permanente is committed to equality and inclusion for all people. We acknowledge racism as a public health issue and will continue our work to address racism, disparities, social justice, inequality, or inequity within and outside our organization. Well, now that's going to solve everything. I personally think that because we as a community have walked this road together, you're now dumber, and so am I. There you go. You know, the holidays are gearing up at the Battlegrounds and at Show Me Your Hobbies. Their hobby shop is loaded with the latest RC cars and trucks, boats and crawlers, and so much more. You can grab one for yourself or even get a gift card for that special RC or airsoft enthusiast in your life. And if you'd like even more excitement, you're going to love the Battlegrounds. It's ready to host your private birthday party, corporate holiday party, or any other celebration. From Nerf and airsoft to bow tag and rivals, the activities are endless at the Battlegrounds. Don't forget, their hours will be extended throughout the holiday season for more open play sessions. But you got to register on their website. Go to thebattlegroundspa.com or give them a call at 412-530-2192. Coolest place ever. Don't forget, don't just play the game, be the game at the Battlegrounds. All right, I've got the board coming up. Dr. Doom, some nuggets of wisdom from him to set you all up for your Thanksgiving repast. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
What are these companies going to learn?
I don't understand it. Excuse me, guys.
As you suck snot up into your head.
What'd you say?
What?
I can't hear you, so if you think you're being cutesy, you ain't.
Wow. What are these companies? I don't get them.
Truly do not.
For the person who asked earlier in the show about the how my birthday arrangements are coming, I think it's a surprise because I've heard nothing about it.
Right.
Right, what? Right, Colleen. What B-Day party? Although I will say it's not a big one like 50, because, you know, once you get to 50. Do that many people go to Best Buy anymore?
I don't know.
I was in the other day looking for something, and like there was no one in there. I mean, I go for specific things, but $50 was easy. Just wait. I'm getting there, Marilyn. Slowly but surely. I'm going to have to take a nap today.
Is that right?
No.
I've got to go driving with Ryan.
I need a ride.
To?
Cigar shop.
Why?
And then I'll call you and you can come get me. Because then I could drink beer while I was there.
Wow. Day drinking.
You could be like my Uber. Really? Really?
What?
Really?
What? What does that mean?
Like day drinking.
Yeah. It's not something I ever do.
Well, I need a fake news button. A fake news button that I
One
can...
that goes...
Yeah. I'll have to talk to Kelly. Need a fake news. Here we go.
The longer we seem to focus on these ridiculous positions, Chief Diversity or Inclusion Officer, Chief Equity Development Officer, this is exactly tied into what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. It's the friend with the business model that's got no focus, but looks like it's impressive. We're going to put all of these titles out. We're going to create these new divisions in our businesses, in our colleges and universities. We're going to put together PowerPoints to talk about how we're so involved. The fact of the matter is there's never been a better time than now to not be a white guy. Period. There has never been greater opportunity for women, for minorities, for people of any kind of background that isn't your standard operating background. You really think that we need to fall over ourselves and put together these divisions of equity? Just, you know why they do this? So they don't get sued. Isn't that pathetic? Pathetic. None of this changes anything. None of this makes people who look differently like each other anymore. None of this brings us any closer together. It's Black Lives Matter. That's what this is all about. It's this idea that has no actual function. It does nothing. But if you say that you're down with Black Lives Matter, even though you don't prove that you've done anything to care about Black lives, somehow you're out of the crosshairs. Oh, don't look at me. Look at my neighbor. They have an American flag. Get them. Do you understand what I'm saying? This entirety of this crazy world we're living in, this dystopian garbage, is not real. The real stuff is you waking up every day and going to do your job. And you doing your best to put food on the table, paying your bills, and following the law and paying your taxes. And helping out, volunteering if you can, and maybe going to church. Raising your kids to the best of your ability. That's the real story. Not all this sidebar crap. I'm so tired of this. It's so old. It's worn out its welcome a long time ago. You know, don't blame people in the conservative movement for trying to take us back in time well before the civil rights era. You created this. You leftists created this. Your ever-loving need to be a victim or to find some reason to be relevant when you are not. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to not be relevant. Sometimes it's okay to not have clicks. Sometimes it's okay just to get off your butt and go work and produce and function and be a functioning, helpful member of society. Amazing how that would be. Coming up the board, completely debunks what Dr. Doom is saying. Wow, this guy's a piece of work. We're going to take him down. Coming up right after this.
Hi.
Wow, it looked like we left you guys. We didn't. I heated up my coffee. It's freezing in here. Are you having a mom and dad meeting? Haha. No.
I was in the bathroom. Well, Sandy, dead air does not cost money on Facebook. So what you're saying is, what time will you be on the road with Ryan?
I have no idea. It depends on when I get home and what happens.
Hey, did the hot dog place ever open back up?
No, not yet. D's?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
My air just kicked on.
Oh my goodness. It's freezing.
Yeah.
I don't want this cup of coffee, but it's hot. My hands are frozen.
Worried, too quiet, sometimes worried you had been shut down. I have no words of wisdom, George.
All the kids are home. Yes. It's interesting, too. The college kids get real bored real fast hanging out at home. And I get it. I mean, you get to a certain point where home is nice for a very small amount of time. And then you just want to go back to being able to live your own life, which is good. I think it's natural, right? I find it amazing that they still can't put away their damn shoes. Shoes everywhere. What? Look, I get anxious. If things aren't orderly, I get very anxious. It's just part of the deal.
Which is why you're not allowed in my house.
Ah, right.
I get criticized on the stream. I get criticized at work.
Oh.
I need my safe space. I'm going all liberal on you. I need my safe space.
Your college kid lives at home. Well, we had that this summer, and that's...
I've invited you to my places that I hang out.
The cigar shop. That's where I want to be.
Wow. We've invited you to Mike's. And the
Eagles. Jason and I have invited you, Wendy. Out of the goodness of our hearts, we sent you some breadcrumbs to see if you wanted to share time with us.
You always have stuff to do. I'm working out. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. I don't want to bother you. As important as you are. I mean, you've never taken us to Stinky's for a work lunch.
Oh, God.
Just saying. Just saying. I was invited tonight, but I am not going. So, I was invited. Have the boys work on some jokes for tomorrow. That's where it's originated, so they need to get some jokes in for tomorrow. You'll forget. Write it down.
No, it involves me harping at them. Bobby will do it, and he'll give me the punchline. He goes, welcome back, everybody. You're tuned into the Wendy Bell radio program. I have this very sick feeling in my stomach. You know, I do a lot of listening wherever I go. Granted, I have a job where I speak for a living, but at home, I probably speak the least of everyone in the house. I enjoy hearing what everybody is saying, and now that my college kids are home, it's very interesting to see the dynamic among the boys. When I'm out in public, I'm constantly listening to what people are talking about. It's fascinating. It's real. It's authentic. And so much of what we are told, I believe, is unbelievable. And I believe, and it makes me very sick to say this, I believe there will come a day when the reality of this pandemic will be exposed. I believe we are going to learn information that will fundamentally rattle a fair number of Americans' faith in the system. My faith has been rattled for a long time. But I also spend the time and dig into the information that I think is important for you to learn about so that you can make decisions for you. You don't have something as pivotal as a vaccine adverse event reporting system and have it blackballed from usage in media circles and publicly if it's not onto something. Similarly, Twitter, YouTube, Google, Facebook, all of these. Don't censor people. Don't silence opinions unless those opinions are correct and challenge what they're trying to push. So I pay close attention to the people who are pushed to the side. I read a lot of what doctors and researchers, people with a great deal of information and knowledge, have stood up and spoken out about regarding this pandemic who've been silenced. And I similarly have paid a great deal of attention to Dr. Fauci. I still fail to see his value in any capacity at all. I think there will be a time when the truth will come out. There is a reason the FDA has asked a judge to wait until the year 2076 when the lion's share of us are all dead, 55 years from now, to release its information about what it knows regarding Pfizer, its vaccine, its clinical trials, and the reports of adverse events. There's a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And even more deafening than all of this is the cherry picking of information by the media. The stories they choose to tell us and those they choose to ignore. Very telling. Why do I say this? I want to open the door to these two sound bites from Dr. Doom, who I truly believe is the most dangerous person on planet Earth. I think Bill Gates is powerfully dangerous because of the money and the influence he has. Tony Fauci, I think, is a special kind of darkness. And I fundamentally blame him for the last 2 years of our suffering, not just here in America, but across the planet. I find him reprehensible. I believe he is a criminal, a liar, who wraps himself, as Nancy Pelosi did in the Constitution, wraps himself in the auspices of science and data, though he is anything but data-driven or scientific. So he's on with some hack who's asking him questions about, so if we're at Thanksgiving and we're inside, fully vaccinated, with a small group, do we need to wear a mask? Somebody needs to punch the guy who asks that stupid question. If you need Dr. Doom to fill time for you because you're so bad at what you're doing, you need to move along. But there were two particular sound bites that I found interesting. Listen to Dr. Doom exalt himself as some hero, some guy who we just can't live without. Cut number one.
We'll give you the last word of any thoughts on how you're playing across the internet again this year. And then I promised you had a question. Go ahead as well.
Well, Ari, I'm not in it for a popularity contest. I've devoted my entire professional career of 50 years to try and essentially safeguard and preserve the health and the lives of the American people. And as an infectious disease doctor who deals with outbreak, that gets really extended to the rest of the world. That's what I do.
Factually incorrect. What Dr. Fauci does is enrich himself and select members of his inner circle, much like Joe Biden. Almost 50 years of what? To do what? To impact us how? And so I want to bring out the board. Actually, let's do the second one. The second one. So this is what I do. It's what I do, he says. I'm about science. I'm about helping people. No, you're not. You don't care about any of us. Joe Biden does not care about any of us. He doesn't care about your gas tank. He doesn't care about your children. He doesn't care about your wellness. He doesn't care about anything. Least of all, the United States of America. Joe Biden's singular focus is the singular focus of Dr. Fauci. Money. Period. Cut number two.
The praise or the arrows and slings are really irrelevant. I do what science drives you to do, and that's what I do. And, I'm not in it for a popularity contest. I'm trying to save lives. And the people who weaponize lies are killing people. So the only question I have is that when you show Tucker Carlson and Peter Navarro criticizing me, I consider that a badge of honor.
People who weaponize lies. He is the ultimate purveyor of lies. Time to break out the BS board.
Time to cut the crap, because Wendy's breaking out the Ireland Contracting BS board.
This so incenses me. The number of human beings who had to go out of their way after suffering an injury of some nature because of these very vaccines that we know have not even closely been tested long enough for Dr. Fauci to make the blanket safety statements that he's had. They're safe and effective. He says, well, I'm going to tell you that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans who beg to differ. You have to reconcile this, Fauci. Doctors saving lives, all right, should talk to us about the Open VAERS site. Open, VAERS. This is built from HHS data that's available for download at vaers.hhs.gov. I don't make this stuff up. But the internet doesn't like when I share it with you. Facebook doesn't like when I share it with you. Why? Go back to what I said at the beginning of this segment. People who share facts and truth go against what they're trying to tell you. That's why you have to know. Did you know this is data as of November 12th? So this is 2 weeks old. 894,145 reports of COVID vaccine events in VAERS. Nearly 900,000 people have had something happen. Some very small. Ow, my arm doesn't feel right. There's a magnet that can stick to my arm. To, I can't see out of my left eye. To, I just collapsed on the baseball field. 894,000 of them. 18,853 reports of vaccine-related deaths. This is globally. 18,000 people. 94,537 vaccine-reported hospitalizations. The COVID didn't get you, but the shot did. Hell of a lot of people. 139,126 reports of serious injuries. You know what their answer to this is? Well, we've given out hundreds of millions of doses of vaccine. These are just a drop in the bucket. We have never before in the history of modern medicine allowed this kind of problem to happen with vaccines. Never, ever before. But wait a minute. They say it's safe and effective for kids. Hurry up. I know families have been waiting for this. You've been dying to get this for your kids. Have you now? Reports involving 5 to 11-year-olds. 1,426 adverse events reported. 444 reported since the FDA's approval of the Pfizer jab on November 1st. That means there was 1,000 reports before this was even authorized for children. People decided to jump the gun and give it to kids anyway, with tragic results. At least one death. Do you know what's scary about this? Reports of myocarditis, you know, the inflammation of the tissue around the heart. The studies on myocarditis in the 5 to 11-year-olds won't be completed for 5 more years, till the year 2026. But go ahead, roll the dice on that. Hopefully it's not going to be you or someone you love. Reports involving 12 to 17-year-olds, 23,105 adverse reactions. 1,429 were serious. 30 reported deaths. 30. Kids don't die, ladies and gentlemen. Kids just don't die. 30 did after getting the jab. 559 reports of myocarditis and pericarditis. It's a hell of a lot. And 1,376 reports of miscarriage or premature birth. Why don't we talk about this, Mr. Doctor Saving Lives? That scares me. Every single day. My greatest fear is that we are going to turn the page on the calendar 5 years. We are going to be at 2026. And a hell of a lot of people who believed what this man was saying, who felt as though because the President of the United States told them it is your duty, your patriotic duty, you will lose your job, who had to choose between the jab or their job. Are going to report back, and this is going to be a drop in the bucket. Kelly Morgan and her family own 4 More Gains fitness facilities in Somerset and Cambria counties, and they are wonderful people. I enjoy people who are big into fitness because they have this can-do attitude, and they'll help you. They'll do whatever they can for you. That is the folks at More Gains Fitness. It is a wonderful facility with all what you would expect inside. The Nautilus and plate-loaded machines, the weights, the ellipticals. There's an indoor track. There's all sorts of stuff going on inside. But it's their attention to you and your individual fitness goals that I love the most about More Gains Fitness. They do metabolism testing, body composition analysis. They have child care. They do group fitness classes, personal trainers, open 24/7. You decide when it's convenient for you. In a world of restrictions and a world of people telling you no, More Gains Fitness opens the door and says, you bet. Let's roll. More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ, moregainsfitness.com. Check them out. When we come back, there's this push now because so many of these titles for people hurt their feelings. It's so mean to call a pedophile. So we decided to come up with some new names. Unbelievable, the focus in our country right now. Don't take your eye off the ball. We'll be back right after this.
We have to work the Hillary sound in there, too. That Hillary sound is just delicious, as you like to say.
I will use that. Thank you for reminding me that we had that.
And JD out.
Thank you very much for that as well. You do make me whole. Brock.
Yeah. Disturbing.
It's not disturbing. Everybody needs a wingman.
Oh. So I'm just Goose to your Maverick.
Mm-hmm. Except I hold
Goose dies.
I have the
just
eject
know
button.
Goose dies.
I have the eject button there
right.
for you.
Goose dies.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
And for the person who said Wendy should write a check back to the government for the kids' funding, the child tax credit that she gets, or do you make too much to get it? Let's take Wendy out of the picture. How about I don't have kids and I have to pay money so you can get your child tax credit.
Why is that even a point on the stream?
I have no idea.
That's awesome. Thanks for paying attention.
Right. Well, we got to come on and try to debunk something or make an issue out of something. How about I'm just tired of paying for your crap?
Child tax credit. What do I get for that?
What do I get? What do I get out of any of it? What do I get out of affordable child care?
I don't know what age you have to have child tax credit. I guess only 3 of them would. I don't know.
Can I get it for my dog?
Mm-hmm.
I'll send them to doggy daycare, and they can get tax credits for that.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so against my good judgment, Brock has infiltrated my brain and has encouraged me that we must give you Hillary Clinton. I know it doesn't feel...
Tell them you agree with me.
It doesn't feel like the warm and fuzzy setting you up to enjoy a wonderful Thanksgiving. But I agree. I think it's important every now and again. And in fact, Hillary could have given that gentleman from JMU a run for his money as Lib of the Week.
I would definitely say she's an honorable mention.
She's an honorable mention, Lib
Might
of
be
the
the only
Week.
time you call her honorable.
That's,
but
you know what? I've never used her name and that word in the same sentence before. So let's listen. I forget why she's talking and being irrelevant, but she is.
She's pimping a book.
Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, I'll do it in just a minute.
Okay.
All right, let's hear Hillary Clinton.
We have got to end impunity. We have to hold people accountable for their actions, particularly when those actions threaten our way of life, our rule of law, our future as a democracy. And so I am determined to continue to speak out, to do whatever I can. And in fact, in the book we wrote, State of Terror, as you know, there is a plot against the country by people who truly want to turn the clock back. They believe that the progress we've made on all kinds of civil rights and human rights, the cultural changes that have taken place, are so deeply threatening that they want to stage a coup. Now, think about it, because that's truly what is behind Trump and his enablers and those who invaded and attacked our Capitol.
She hit them all. She's got the Holy Trinity: Trump, 1-6, and racism. Boom. It's completely what consumes them. How rich is it? Well, first of all, she's pimping a book, which of course she is. Gross. But she's talking about holding people accountable. Do you guys know that Kyle Rittenhouse spent more time in jail than the Clintons have ever served? And they're legitimate criminals. Let's think about all of the ways we should have been holding Hillary Clinton accountable. Not to mention the private in-home email server and the 30,000 emails that poof, vanished. The bleach pit. You mean, did I wipe it down like with a cloth? Right? Playing stupid. She's a serial liar. Let's not talk about Benghazi. Let's not talk about Filegate, or when she called off the internal investigation into her State Department and the nefarious sexual and illegal things those fine folks were accused of doing overseas. How about her IRS abuses? She popularized using the IRS to go after her political enemies. How about the Clinton Crime Family Foundation or Whitewater? How about Vince Foster's death? How about firing 7 presidents worth of White House travel staffers to put her own friends and family into a payment of $31 million? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Hillary Clinton telling you is rich.
You forgot the Steele dossier.
Well, that's true. Bought and paid for by her people. Yes. By the way, there is a little push out there. You know, we heard the Lib of the Week last week. They don't want to be called pedophiles. It's hurtful. They're a minor attracted person, a MAP. Well, there's now a new push to change term for sex offender. That's an adult who commits sexual offenses. Feels much better if we say it that way. Criminals are no longer criminals either. Justice involved individuals. That's rich. Yes. Justice involved in riots. No, those are mostly peaceful protests. You know, that was an easy one. Looting is really free stuff indulging. And an arsonist, what did you call it? You said it was a 5. It was a what? The looters?
Oh, someone on the stream said 5-finger discount.
That's true. And then there's always the arsonist, the fire-inclined person. Just want to feel better about where we are in life. We like to be inclusive here. Don't want to hurt any criminals' feelings. You know, I do want to talk about John D'Onofrio. He's the estate lawyer I trust. He is, he's really amazing. He's got 40 years of experience sitting down with people like you and me and going over your stuff and saying, okay, this is your estate. This is what you have. How do you want it to go? Where do you want it to go after you pass away? What's that roadmap like? And then because of his experience, he can help you avoid what? Inheritance tax, income tax on it. It's huge what he can do. And at the end of the day, it's the peace of mind that you get with attorney John D'Onofrio. Make the call. Sit down with him. 412-928-2068. You deserve an expert, and that expert is John D'Onofrio. You know, the busy day is almost over, and we've gone through a lot. But I hope you guys know where I was going with my original monologue today. It is like we're sitting in a terrible movie, and the players are really B-rate actors. They don't know what they're doing. They've got a script that they're poorly delivering. Meanwhile, everything else around them is blowing up and going to hell in a handbasket. And they're telling you all the talking points. We're going to use every tool in our tool belt. We can't. We're going to see it tick down in some bit. This is what we have. And the scariest part of all is we're only a fourth of the way through this. All right, we're back tomorrow. Don't forget, Bad Joke Friday is going to be tomorrow, and good news. Get in touch with us. We'll see you.